Action commences for the last time in our quadruple header Saturday with our fourth and last playoff game of the day incoming, as will be another semifinals matchup. We are live at the Divine Light Academy in Las Piñas, and this is the one and only Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL D-League. And our match at hand, the semifinals Game 1 matchup between the Pasig Servants and the Tanauan Brahmans. Good evening, everybody. My name is Cholo Pangilinan, covering the action with professional basketball player Kyle Sanchez and Daphne Cristobal. And Kyle, another great semifinals matchup. This time, it's between the well-oiled Tanauan Brahmans and the very stacked Pasig Servants.
Well, all the games here today to start this new year have been exciting, to say the least, and I can't expect anything less from our final game here today against these two very well coached and very well rounded teams.
And first, let's talk about the last game, or first, rather, the playoff bracket. Again, we've mentioned the Tanauan Brahmans as they're holding that second seed. Or rather, that first seed, actually, I'm sorry. And they're facing Pasig right now, holding the fifth seed. So, there you have it. It's a fifth seed versus first seed matchup. Hopefully, it's going to be an entertaining one. But first, let's talk about that game where the Tanauan Brahmans won over the San Pedro Mamba and finishing the series 2-1.
Well, they did it through defense. They had 18 big steals in that game to close out the series. And on the offensive end, everyone pretty much contributed for their cause, which sent them all the way here to the next round. And they were led by James Torato, who had 22 points and 5 rebounds.
And on the other side, the Pasig Servants sweeping the Binyan Tatak Gel and winning that game to 113-81.
And what impressed me the most about that victory were the 26 assists given out by this Pasig team, really sharing the wealth amongst themselves. But of course, one player stood out, and that was S.J. Moore, who had 31 big points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. But unfortunately, Pasig will be missing his services here today, so I'm expecting someone or a group of players to step up in his absence.
Well, we do know, again, just like what I said a while ago, the Pasig Servants are as stacked as they get. They have UA's 30 Malaga, they have Adamson's Amano Anabo, they have CSB's David Cruz, and a lot of names that we'll mention later on. But for now, we'll be turning it over to our venue announcer, Denzel Santiago, for the start of our ball game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Divine Light Academy here in Las Piñas City, as we bring you the playoffs of Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL D-League inaugural season. It's the game 1 of the best-of-3 division semifinals, featuring the Pasig Servants versus the Tanauan Brahman. We are live on our official Facebook page and YouTube channel of Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL. And now, let us meet the starters. First from the Pasig Servants. Guard number 5, David Cruz. Also guard number 13, Javi Hinugin. At forward number 6, Russell Bayani. Also for number 30, Earl Anonuevo. Playing center number 24, George Yamante. Head coach Mr. J. Chris. Assisted by Paulo Martiga, Dio Flores, Arvin Jeremiah Santos, Vic Aguilar. Team manager Elizabeth Cruz. Team owner Colonel Neil Estrella. And now let us meet the starters from Tanauan Brahman. Guard number 25, Hervey Atienza. Also guard number 23, James Torat. Number 10, Alan Aguila. Also forward number 55, Andre Dimailig. Playing center number 16, 11, Elihai. Head coach Arnold Contorno. Assisted by Ryan Fernando, Peter John Dolar. Team owner Ivan Nokom, Bar Alonso. Our game's official crew chief, John Mahinay. Umpire 1, Carlos Sebastian. Umpire 2, Don Ramos. Junior MPBL D-League Executive Director, Mr. J.R. Navarro. Junior MPBL D-League Commissioner, Mr. Kit Picasso. Once again, this is the semifinals of Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL D-League ang liga ng bawat batang Pilipino.
In our Doride Bola ng Pinoy team starters, for Tanauan, it's Atienza, Torato, Aguila, Dimailig, and Elihay. And for Pasig, it's Cruz, Hinogin, Bayani, Año Nuevo, and Diamante. And again, just like what I mentioned a while ago, the Pasig servants sweeping Binyan Tatak Gel. Certainly because of their stacked lineup, don't let that fifth-seeded team fool you because of their positioning. They have the likes of George Diamante, former Letran Squire. They have CSB's David Cruz, UA's 30 Malaga. They also have Adamson's Manu Anabo. And of course, they have 18 and under MVP last season, Russell Bayani. And for the Tanauan Brahmans, again, they were able to finish their last series 2-1 after losing their first game against the 8-seeded San Pedro Mamba. Maybe that was finally the wake-up call for them.
Yes, definitely a tale of two teams. Itong Pasig, really a loaded lineup, as you said. Some players in the collegiate ranks who are very talented, and they're contributing for their schools as well, being put together here to form this Pasig team. While itong Tanauan Brahmans might be considered the underdogs because they are the relatively more unknown team in terms of the players that they have in their lineup, but they have been outworking their opponents, and they have been doing a stellar job on the defensive end, shutting down their opponents.
Meanwhile, Diamante, great fight to Año Nuevo. How do you like that vision from the big guy?
Diamante with that look-away pass for that second basket now for the Pasig servants.
Meanwhile, to open this game, it's a three-pointer, courtesy of Alan Aguila. Meanwhile, Año Nuevo, no good on the shot. Bayani hustling for it, ends up with James Torato. This guy has been big all season. Almost lost it. Torato, outside-ish, Atienza. It's still with the Brahmans. Aguila for three. Back-to-back three-pointers for Mr. Aguila. David Cruz brings it down. Cruz almost lost it and draws a foul as he attacks the lane. 2 minutes passing by in our game. Another look at that David Cruz attack. Again, playing for the Team B of the Benil Blazers. So his teammates with Matthew Hukom, who played a while ago for Quezon City. That's gonna be a turnover. Torato, pinpoint passing. Aguila, 8 points so far. All 8 points from the Brahmans from him.
You really have to watch out for this guy. He has 8 points to his name already. Can't let him get too hot if you're the Pasig servants.
Meanwhile, fearless move coming from the former 18 and under MVP Russell Bayani. And with that, 2 freebies will be given to him. Played the big man position during his 18 and under days, but transitioning to a forward this 21 and under division. As again, he's not that tall, at least in this division, to be a big man anymore.
And he's done a good job of translating his game to the next level. As you mentioned, he did play underneath the basket in the lower ranks, but now that he's leveled up, and well, he hasn't really gotten much taller. No, he has adjusted his game to be more of a guard or a combo guard for his team, and he still found ways to be effective.
And I believe he's playing the 3 position with the current lineup at the floor for Pasig, with Diamante and Año Nuevo at the front court. And that'll be a miss from Tanauan. Hinogin burning some rubber. Oh my goodness, just like that. Now you see me, now you don't.
And just like that, it's only a 1-point lead for the Tanauan Brahman.
Meanwhile, I'm sure James Torato has something to say about that as he'll fire for a 3. That is short. Diamante with a board. Forward pass intercepted by James.
Not the best decision there for Diamante.
Meanwhile, Dimailig overcooks the shot. Diamante in transition, having a smile on his face. Puts one up, that's no good for him. Another try, Jeffy Hinogin hustling for another bucket. 4 points for him so far.
And the second straight basket here in the first quarter. Pasig already with the lead. No one but Aguila so far being able to put points on the board for the Tanauan Brahmans. As Anabo is set to check in for the servants.
And finally, another basket. But that's still Alan Aguila. First 10 points of the Brahmans coming from him. Meanwhile, Anyo Nuevo puts one up, overcooks it. Russell Bayani cleans up his teammates' mess. 1 point lead, but that changes. First 12 points of the Tanauan Brahmans coming from Alan Aguila.
You know, of all the people you would leave open for the Brahman, why would you leave Aguila open, seeing as he's the only person so far who has scored for his team? It's been the Pasig servants versus Aguila here in the first quarter.
Meanwhile, putback attempt is no good for Bayani. Another chance for the Brahmans. Atienza at the right side, Elihai up top, picked up by Bayani. Inside dish, Atienza intercepted by Diamante. He puts one up and that's good for two.
Well, finally, someone else other than Aguila being able to score for the Brahman.
So high scoring first period for both of the teams. Cruz asking for a pick. Stolen by Atienza. Diamante defending him. But doesn't matter, Atienza will score anyway.
Good job by Atienza staying in front of Diamante, which negated Diamante's shot blocking capabilities.
Diamante looking to attack. No look pass. And Bayani unable to receive it. Good thing last touch called on the maroon shirts. And I believe that's a completely new 5 for the Pasig servants. As we're seeing again, UE's 30 Malaga, Adamson's Manu Anabo, and former LSGH Greenie, CJ Mesias. Anabo fades away. Lucky bounce won't go for him. So an unlucky bounce perhaps. But they'll get it back. Roldan puts one up. Von Roldan finishes, the former UE Junior Warrior. The Brahmans, they put one up. Oh my goodness, Atienza, disoriented shot goes in anyway.
Earlier it was Aguila with the consecutive points for the Brahmans. This time it's Atienza.
Meanwhile, Malaga and Anabo, miscommunication, and Atienza, another bucket for him. 20 points already for the Brahmans in this period.
Mag-alternate siguro si Aguila at Atienza pa 12 points, 12 points. No? Parang yun yata ang game plan ng Tanauan dito.
But at 24 na, Alan Aguila naman ulit. And hopefully, Pasig can find a way to stop that from happening. Assuming yun nga yung plan nitong Brahmans.
And that game plan will no longer commence, no? As Atienza is on the bench in favor of Dolar, who checks in.
And not to mention, Torato has been quiet. So a lot of threats for the Brahmans. But this time, 11 Alihai getting called for a foul. So another chance for the servants. Roldan triggers the inbound. Gracilias tried to pass it inside to Anabo. They recover it. Mesias for three. Gets it to go.
Much improved outside shooter. CJ Mesias wasting no time. As soon as he got that ball, put that shot up, which trimmed this lead down to 4.
Meanwhile, foul called. That's going to be on Von Roldan. Another look at that CJ Mesias. Three-point bomb from the right side. Again, that's what he can do. And he was part of that LSGH team alongside Seven Gagate, Luis Pablo, and Rance Moyuela, who played a while ago in here. The attack by Dolar drops it to Divar. Traveling violation.
And that was an easy call for our officials. Shuffling his feet upon getting that ball. Not sure what Tivar was trying to do. Could have gone straight up. 1-2-2 full court press right now for the Tanauan Brahmans.
Anabo, fearless drive, he'll score.
And that's what you're supposed to do once you break that press. Normally, there's going to be an advantage in numbers for the offensive team, and good recognition by Anabo.
Meanwhile, Dolar, the fake, puts one up, gets fouled. And Mesias asking for a travel call, but it's going to be 2 freebies coming up for Kevin Dolar. So far, only a 2-point lead right here for the Tanauan Brahmans, but a chance to extend it as we have over 2 minutes remaining in our first chapter. But first one won't go in, as we're seeing Coach Arnold Contorno, head coach of the Tanauan Brahmans. 1 out of 2 for Dolar, make it a 3-point lead for his team. And number 18 seems to be a crowd favorite, Von Matthew de Ramos. Meanwhile, the attack, oh, what a move from the little guy, Gracilias.
Impressive, going amongst the trees. No fear whatsoever.
Meanwhile, quick to answer back is Kevin Dolar. It's back to a 3-point lead. Roldan to Mesias. Mesias, nowhere to go. And a foul called on Dolar.
They're still not in the penalty, or the Tanauan Brahman. That is their 4th team foul. So, well, not the best foul to give, but still not in penalty itong Tanauan.
So 14 to shoot for Roldan and company as he'll trigger the inbound. He finds Gracili outside, Dolar bothering him, and he gets the steal. Forward dish. Guerra attacks, Guerra, no good. Malaga captures the rebound. Anabo has it, forward dish to Mesias. Another foul called on Kevin Dolar.
And now Tanauan is in the penalty, so that will be 2 free throws for CJ Mesias.
And again, CJ Mesias, well-known 3-point shooter of the Pasig Servants. And again, was part of that LSJ squad where they faced the Transquires at the finals. Of course, facing Andy Hemao that season and company. As first one goes in for CJ. Second one on its way. 2 out of 2 for Mesias. And more importantly, only a 1-point lead now for the Brahmans as we have over a minute remaining in Chapter 1. Guerra, Dolar, full court pressure coming from Pasig. And that's a steal for them. Anabo, crazy shot, won't fall. Guerra again, attacking. De Ramos has it. Outside dish. Dolar, he'll attack. He drops it. Tivar completes the play.
Good patience shown there by the Brahmans, and good passing as well. Very unselfish, and that's one of the trademarks of this team, aside from their hard-nosed defense, is how unselfish they've been playing all throughout this season.
And Gracili caught dancing to the wrong song as David Cruz will replace him. It looks like Russell Bayani will come in as well in exchange of Von Roldan. So 40 seconds remaining in Chapter 1. A high-scoring game so far. 3-point lead for the Brahmans. Dolar has it. Up against Cruz. This time it's Aguila. Tivar has it. It was intended for Dolar, but stolen by Bayani. Meanwhile, it's Bayani again. Anabo at the corner. He attacks baseline. And he gets fouled. 2 freebies coming up for the Soaring Falcon. That's a foul again on Anabo. And speaking of Mano Anabo, he was part of that Transquire squad that faced Mesias and that LSGH squad. As first one is good for Anabo. On your screens, that's Coach Jay Cruz, head coach of the Pasig Servants. Second one for Manu Anabo. He misses it. Rebound by the Brahmans. Shot clock is off. Outside. Possession will stay with the Brahmans.
And that's a great deflection there coming from David Cruz to thwart that fast break by the Tanauan Brahmans. And now they'll be forced to execute in the half court.
Guerra outside to Devor. Dolor has it. Time at 5 seconds. Devor puts one up. That's good. And a great way to end this period for the Tanauan Brahmans with that short stab coming from John Paul Devor, making it a 4-point lead, 27-23, of course, in favor of them. And what a high-scoring quarter it has been. Looks like we're in for a treat for our final game of our quadruple header Saturday. And that's it for now. We'll be back for more action. Once again, this is the one and only Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL D-League.
Back-to-back games will be played here by Tanauan Brahmans because earlier, all the way from Paco Arena, bumiyahe sila dahil naglaro sila at ngayon, andito sila for the game here in the Junior MPBL. Well, actually, Kurt Lapot will be missing today's match and also a bit doubtful na makapaglaro si Kenneth Pundan after ailing an injury in their game earlier. Sabi sa akin ni Coach Arnold, dapat andun pa rin yung recovery for all of his players. But syempre, yung mga guards, they should step up in today's match. Cho and Kyle.
Thank you very much, Daphne, for sharing that information. And indeed, the absence of Pundano and Laput will be crucial. As again, Pundano, we know him to be a great three-point shooter for Tanauan. And Laput, great presence inside both on offense and defense.
Well, you wouldn't notice by the way that they're playing na naglaro kanina itong Tanauan Brahmans team, but the energy that they've been displaying, especially in that first quarter, has been impressive. That's why they have this 3-point lead at the moment.
At the open hour period, Bayani makes that first freebie for Pasig. Second one on its way for the former 18 and under MVP. And he makes it 2 out of 2 for the Little Beast. 27-23. A little bit of color developing between Cruz and I believe that's Kevin Dolar. Meanwhile, Guerra, he'll bring it down. He's up against Manu Anabo. Only a 2-point lead for the Brahmans as Russell Bayani crashing into Kevin Dolar.
Things still getting chippy between Cruz and Dolar. You love to see the passion that both players are playing with. And this is a very important first game. Whoever wins this first one can set the tone for the rest of the series.
Meanwhile, Dolar unable to hit that shot. Perhaps David Cruz getting into his head. Meanwhile, Diamante back in the game. Crossover move. Diamante, no look pass to the corner. They swing it around. Anabo for 3. Won't fall. Rebound by Guerra.
Well, it looks like George Diamante is trying to hone his guard skills. No, maybe preparing for the next level of his basketball career.
And De Ramos puts that one in. Make it a 4-point lead for them. And indeed, yes, I do agree with you. He may be tall for the juniors division of the NCAA. He's 6'4", but I don't think he's able to play the big man position when it comes to the college ranks.
Oh, no, 6'4" nowadays. You can, well, we have point guards who are 6'4", so I wouldn't be surprised if Diamante transitions into a different role as he progresses in his career.
Basket and one for this guy. This guy is a true big man. And John Paul Tivar, a pound-for-pound fitness foul, counted the move. Perhaps a great undersized big man.
No wasted movements coming from Tivar. A no-nonsense traditional big, as you would call him. Really just going up for that shot as soon as he got the ball, but unable to complete the three-point play.
Nevertheless, it's a 6-point lead for the Brahmans. Anabo thought about the three. Gives it to Diamante instead. George attacks. George the pull-up. No good from Diamante. Tried to chase for the basketball. And luckily, possession will stay with them. As Malaga comes in for Anabo, adding size to that Pasig Servants lineup. Meanwhile, Bayani finding a way inside.
Bayani still has those big man skills that he was able to hone when he was playing in the younger ranks. No? And even though he's more of a guard or a wing player now, he still knows how to maneuver inside the paint.
And so far, that's 9 points and 4 rebounds already for Russell Bayani. I mean, with the lineup almost full of UAAP and NCAA players, you don't expect someone like him to score the most load. Meanwhile, what a pass from George Diamante to 30 Malaga.
That could be the play of the game. The behind-the-head pass by George Diamante, really showing us that he can be a reliable point guard here in this league.
Meanwhile, Guerra outside dish, he attacks right. Devon to the left side. De Ramos against Mesias. That's blocked by CJ.
Well, that's just terrific individual defense coming from CJ Mesias, moving his feet very well and contesting the shot without fouling, getting that block. And what's more impressive about that block, he kept the ball in play, as we see that behind the head pass coming from George Diamante. Malalari bird yung pasa na yun, all the way to 30 Malaga.
And here he comes again. Diamante, tough shot, gets it back. Still with Diamante. Outside to Hinogin for a three. Still not falling. Mesias with offensive board. George Diamante, he'll fire for a three. Not that time for George.
The more Diamante is able to perfect his guard and wing skills, he's going to be a matchup nightmare for this league and everywhere else he's going to play at.
And a lot of color indeed developing between these two teams, and I couldn't blame them. The stakes are indeed higher in this game as we are again in our semi-finals matchup.
Oh, earlier it was Dolar and Cruz, and now it's Bayani and Tivar getting tangled up.
Almost 4 minutes passing by, unable to finish. And here comes Hinogin and company. Jevi looking at the clock. They still have time. Hinogin outside to Malaga. It's Diamante this time. Trying that point guard skills to work. Diamante able to draw a foul on the act of shooting from distance. George Diamante, a lot of unpredictable moves this game. First freebie won't go in for him.
And it's good that he's improving his shooting as well as his ball handling skills. More importantly, that he's not putting himself in a box, that just because he's a certain height, that he'll limit himself to being a big man here in the Philippine collegiate scene. But now that he has these skills, he can transition into other roles as well and be such a Swiss Army knife that he can contribute in different ways and be an all-around player for any team.
Indeed, the sky is the limit for someone like him. But this time, the Tanauan Brahman is being pushed to their limit, at least for this possession. Dolar, the spin, what a move! The spinneroo coming from Kevin Dolar.
That was a tough shot, getting his balance after that spin move and focusing just enough to hit the ball off the glass.
Meanwhile, Hinogin not wasting any time, but unable to finish. And here comes Torato. He's been quiet, but we know what he can do. Drops it inside. Great find. That was Sarza hitting that short stab again. Great find from James Torato. Meanwhile, Messias knocks down that 3-ball.
And that could be, if I'm not mistaken, that's his second three-pointer of this game. CJ Messias, reminiscent of that shot earlier. As soon as he caught the ball, no hesitation whatsoever. You have to love the confidence that CJ Messias is showing with his shooting.
Yes, 8 points already for CJ. Meanwhile, this guy has also been spectacular. As again, it's always unpredictable what he's gonna do, at least during these days, as we've known him to be a big man, but in this game, he's showing, just like what you said, guard skills. 2 freebies coming up for the former Letran Squire. First one is good. And now we'll be turning it over to Daphne Cristobal for a report.
Fire and Faith will be Pasig's focus in tonight's semifinals match. Fire for those players who were given the chance to be playing here in the tournament, and faith that this talent is from God. Now it's up to them to put this into work. Head coach Jay Cruz also reiterated the art of showing up. Don't just show up, and show up anyway. Will this mantra pave a way for their squad?
Thank you very much, Daphne, for that report. And indeed, great mantra. Hopefully, it's going to help Pasig win this game one. As again, game one is where you dictate the tempo. It's going to be a big advantage for a fifth-seeded team like the Servants. Meanwhile, it's still with them. Diamante the fake. Diamante one-hander. Oh my goodness. Michael Jordan-esque move coming from George Diamante.
George Diamante just showing us everything that's in his arsenal right now here in the first half.
Atienza, Elihai back in the game. Torato asking for it. Elihai not giving it to him, but gives it instead to Sarza. And that free throw, or rather that elbow jumper, is no good. Meanwhile, Roldan unable to finish. But there's going to be a foul on the floor. So basket is not counted.
Well, that was a sorry miss from Roldan, as that was a good pass.
Meanwhile, another look at that George Diamante one-handed floater. I mean, if you have huge hands like that, I wouldn't wonder why he would do that.
Plus at 6'4" and coming all the way from the perimeter, it's going to be hard for anyone to challenge his shot.
Meanwhile, Anabo for a 3. Not that time. Diamante gets it back. George attacks. George, a basket and one for Diamante.
He has been doing pretty much everything for his team here in the first half, getting rebounds, dishing out assists, and this time with that pound-for-pound fitness foul counted play, completing the and one was George Diamante hitting that tough baseline floater.
So far, 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 dimes already for George Diamante. As a Nature Spring timeout is called by Coach Jay Cruz. A 5-point lead for Pasig, and we'll be back for more action.
Taas noo kahit kanino, walang ibang sinisigaw ang masang Pilipino. Bumagsak, bumangon, hinarap ang mga hamon, hanggang ang kahirapan tuluyan nating matalo.
Back to the action here for the last 3 minutes of our second period. A 5-point lead for the Pasig Servants. Aguila. Tugera back to Aguila. Outside for 3, gets it to go.
I'm still feeling it. Scoring the first 12 points of his team, if you recall. Now hitting another 3-pointer, and it's only a 2-point lead for the Servants.
That's good for 15 points now for Alan Aguila. Meanwhile, what a pass from Hinogin to 30 Malaga. Meanwhile, Atienza to the right wing. The attack, Aguila sends it inside. Stolen by Von Roldan. and he gets fouled.
And they are in the penalty. Speaking of the Brahmans, that will mean 2 free throws for Roldan.
So far, it's Russell Bayani leading the charge for the Pasig Servants with 9 points. However, Jamana is not far. Same with Mesias, both with 8 points. As first one is good for Von Roldan. He has 3 points, including that freebie. One more on its way. 2 out of 2 for Roldan. 4 points for him so far. David Cruz back in the game. Getting chippy again with Kevin Dolar. As Atienza burning some rubber in transition, not wasting any time. And he will score. Over 2 minutes remaining in our first half. Both teams going back and forth. David Cruz unable to score. And the rebound by Dolar. Meanwhile, Torato puts one up. That is short. Malaga with the rebound. Almost a steal from Atienza. Hinogan secures it. That's tapped out of bounds. Possession will stay with the Servants.
A good job there by Torato. Stopping that fast break, tipping that ball from behind Hinogan. And this was that previous layup by Atienza, challenging the defense of Anabo.
Let's see what Pasig has up their sleeve. Diamante receiving it. Diamante attacks. Diamante, that's short. Anabo getting it back, trying to put it up, getting fouled, and 2 freebies coming up for the soaring Falcon. So Elihai was the one called for that foul. First freebie for Anabo. Another former Litran Squire. Him and Diamante were teammates. First one is good for him. Second one on its way. 2 out of 2 for Manu Anabo. A minute and 15 remaining in Chapter 2. 3-point lead for the Servants. Torato still scoreless in this game. And finally a chance for him to score through the free throw line as he gets fouled by Manu Anabo.
A good job there initiating the contact, and Anabo was caught in a precarious position and he was moving his feet as he was lunging forward, so he had no choice but to contest that shot in an awkward way, which led to that foul being called.
And finally, Torato gets on board his first point of the game through the free throw line. Second one on its way. 2 out of 2 for James Torato. Another 1-point lead for Pasig as we have a minute remaining. Roldan, no good that time. Still no good on the second attempt. Mesias getting it back. Mesias one more time, still not falling. And a foul will be called on Von Roldan, so possession goes back to the Tanauan Brahmans.
That's 2 missed layups now coming from Roldan. Earlier, Inogan gave him a good pass. This time from Diamante. And Roldan once again blows the layup and he gives up that foul, and they are in the penalty. So a double black eye here for Von Roldan.
James Tabinas enters the game for the first time, replacing Von Roldan. One of the more energetic guys of the Pasig Servants. Not the biggest of players, but indeed, again, can provide that spark and that energy. Atienza, second freebie. 1 out of 2 for him. And a nature spring timeout will be called by Coach Jay Cruz as we have a deadlock at 46. 50 seconds remaining in our second period. And a lot of basketball still to be played. We have a close one here and we'll be back for more action.
Taas noo kahit kanino, walang ibang sinisigaw ang masang Pilipino. Bumagsak, bumangon, hinarap ang mga hamon, hanggang ang kahirapan tuluyan nating matalo.
Back to the action here for the last 50 seconds of our second period. Both teams no more fouls to give. Diamante bringing it down up against Atienza. Inside to Tabinas. Stolen right here by Atienza. That was too strong of a pass coming from Tabinas. Meanwhile, Torato for a three. Still not falling for James. Diamante in transition. Nowhere to go. That's out of bounds. Last touch on Torato. And that's another timeout called to the Pasig servants. As again, we still have a deadlock at 46. 80 seconds remaining. We'll be back shortly. Back to the action here for the last 18 seconds of our first half. 4-6 all is our score. Possession on the hands of the servants. Cruz to Mesias. Outside the Cruz again. Diamante asking for it. He gets it. It's a pick from James Tabinas. Hinogin. That was intended for Mesias. And possession will stay with the servants after the last touch. I believe that was called on Dolar. Mesias triggers the inbound, finds Diamante. He'll fire for a three. Try to fish for a foul, won't work his way. Last 2 seconds. And that won't count.
I don't think Dolor was fully aware of the clock there. Could have taken that initial look, but decided to take one more dribble.
Our officials, I think, will review it.
Yes, not just to make sure, but from our vantage point, at least it didn't look as if Dolor was able to even let go of that ball as the buzzer sounded, and it didn't take long for our officials to confirm it.
There you have it. At the half, it's 46 all. Both teams really doing their best, but this time Pasig outscoring Tanauan in that second period. Nevertheless, we'll be back for more action. Once again, this is the one and only Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL D-League.
Taas noo kahit kanino, walang ibang sinisigaw ang masang Pilipino. Bumagsak, bumangon, hinarap ang mga hamon, hanggang ang kahirapan tuluyan nating matalo.
Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL
would like to thank Dorite Bola ng Pinoy, the first Pinoy basketball brand, Don Benitos, ang pambansang cassava, Nature Spring, #1 bottled water in the Philippines, Pound for Pound Fitness, Be Liga Ready, Jinky Skin, empowering women by redefining beauty, Pound Active, for quality sportswear, Wing Bowl, it's like coming home, Chris Jacob Collection, for affordable but quality daily perfumes.
Taas noo kahit kanino, walang ibang sinisigaw ang masang Pilipino. Bumagsak, bumangon, hinarap ang mga hamon, hanggang ang kahirapan tuluyan nating matalo.
Manny Pacquiao's Junior MPBL would like to thank Extreme One-Stop Shop Appliances,
Dorite Bola ng Pinoy, the first Pinoy basketball brand, Don Benitos, ang pambansang cassava, Nature Spring, #1 bottled water in the Philippines, Pound for pound fitness. Be Liga Ready. Jinky Skin. Empowering women by redefining beauty. Pound Active. For quality sportswear.
Red Dynasty, offering comfort Chinese food and overall 5-star experience. Winford Resort and Casino Manila, a luxury integrated resort.
The Hustle Club. Embrace the struggle. Believe in your hustle.
Special thanks to Tropang Villar for hosting today's games. And to Isa Botanica, Green Stevia, and GX International. Maraming salamat.
You're still watching the semifinals game between Pasig Servants going up against Tanauan Brahmans. At kasama ko ngayon, one of their assistant coaches, Assistant Coach Peter. Good evening, Coach Peter. Thank you so much po na may chance po kaming ma-interview po kayo. Alam po natin, galing kayo sa back-to-back teams. So, gaano po kahalaga na syempre kakalabanin po nila yung pagiging, kumbaga yung mental toughness in today's game?
We really need to dig deep in our rotation talaga. So, lahat ng mga nasa third string namin ay kailangan sila mag-step up. Yun lang talaga ang solusyon. Kasi we're short-handed talaga with Kenneth Pundano out and Cyrus Sandal out. So we really need to dig deep in our stars talaga.
Coach Peter, baka meron po yung gustong pasalamatan ngayon. Now is your chance.
Gusto kong mga po batayin si Boss Mar Alonte at si Mayor Collantes po at ang aming boss si Ivan Nocom po. Yun na po.
Thank you.
At yung family ko sa Zamboanga City. Shout out.
Thank you so much, Coach Peter, and good luck po sa team ninyo. Sending it back to you, Cho and Kyle.
Thank you very much, Daphne, for that interview. And again, our halftime score is 46-all. So far, Tanauan Brahmans outscoring the Pasig Servants in that first period, 27-23, but the Servants quick to answer back, outscoring Tanauan in that second period, 23-19, and so far leading the charge. First for Tanauan is Aguila, of course, with 15 points, followed by Atienza with 11, Dolar has 8. And on the side of Pasig, Bayani has 9, Diamante has 8, Messias also has 8.
No one scoring in double figures right now for the Pasig Servants, but a lot of them have already contributed. That's why it's only a, well, it's a